Many years ago, in Umudike town, every compound had at least one person who believed they understood world events better than the government. One of such people was a woman named Aunty Hope. Now, Aunty Hope was not a dangerous woman. She did not fight people or steal goats. She had never quarreled before in public places. In fact, many people described her as kind, prayerful, generous with advice, and always ready to warn others about danger. Unfortunately, Aunty Hope had one powerful weakness. She always believed every message that entered her WhatsApp. Her children sometimes said the phone had become her second Bible. If a message appeared on the screen, Aunty Hope would read it seriously, like someone studying prophecy. If the message contained many capital letters, red warning emojis, or the phrase urgent information, then Aunty Hope believed the Holy Spirit had personally delivered it through the internet. Every morning, her day began the same way. Before brushing her teeth, before greeting the sun, and before even greeting her husband, Aunty Hope would grab her phone. Her husband once complained, "Hope, at least greet me first now." Aunty Hope waved her hand. "I am checking something important, please." "What is important at 5 a.m. in the morning?" "Information," Aunty Hope replied. Her husband shook his head slowly. After 30 years of marriage, he had learned that arguing with Aunty Hope in the morning was like trying to convince rain to fall upward. So he left her alone. Meanwhile, as soon as Aunty Hope opened WhatsApp, messages waited for her like impatient visitors. Good morning greetings, prayer chains, end time prophecies, including miracle testimonies that looked suspiciously similar every week. And Aunty Hope read everything carefully. Her eyes moved slowly across the screen as if she were inspecting a legal document. Then she would begin forwarding. Her first message of the day usually sounded very serious. "Good morning, beloved. God revealed this prayer to a pastor in Brazil at 3 a.m. Share this message with 12 people before sunrise. Whoever ignores this message will miss their breakthrough." Aunty Hope never ignored such messages. She forwarded them immediately to the family group, church women fellowship group, old secondary school classmates group, street association group, and a group called Powerful Mothers of Zion. Her phone worked harder than the town crier's gong. Inside the family group, her children watched the messages appear one after another. Her daughter sighed. "Mommy has started again." Her son typed patiently, "Mommy, please stop forwarding these things." Aunty Hope replied immediately, "You children think everything is joke. When miracle passes your house, don't cry, oh." Her son dropped the phone. Mommy believes the internet more than us." But Aunty Hope continued. Another message entered. Breaking news. Scientists have discovered a strange sound in the sky. Experts say it could be the trumpets of heaven. Aunty Hope's eyes widened. She forwarded it immediately and then added her own explanation. "Please take this very seriously. The Bible said these things will happen." Inside the church women fellowship group, the messages continued. One woman replied politely, "Thank you, Sister Hope." Another woman wrote, "Please verify the information before forwarding." Aunty Hope shook her head slowly. "Verify prophecy?" She forwarded another message again. It was so bad that even the church pastor tried to warn her one Sunday afternoon. After service, he called her aside. "Sister Hope." "Yes, pastor." "You are forwarding many messages in the church group," the pastor said. "Yes, pastor. I am trying to spread awareness," Aunty Hope defended. The pastor smiled. "Some of these messages are not correct." Aunty Hope looked surprised. "How can it be wrong if it is written? The pastor sighed. Not everything written online is the truth. Aunty Hope nodded politely, but inside her heart, she remained unconvinced. That evening, she forwarded 3 new messages again. One of the messages warned people not to eat bread because the devil had entered bakeries. Another message claimed that a statue somewhere had started crying blood. The third message was her favorite. It said, forward this prayer to 20 people and before sunset, someone will send you good news. Aunty Hope forwarded it to 30 people just to be safe. Her husband watched her from the corner of the room. Hope, yes, she answered. Do you know these messages are sometimes fake? Aunty Hope looked at him calmly. You people don't understand spiritual matters. Her husband laughed tiredly. Is the Holy Spirit now using WhatsApp broadcast? Aunty Hope pointed at the phone. God can use anything, don't you know? Then she pressed forward again. It went to the markets, the church and the streets. By now, people already knew that if a strange message was circulating in Umudike town, there was a high chance that Aunty Hope was the forwarder. So, some people muted her messages while some people just laughed it off. But Aunty Hope continued faithfully. She believed she was protecting people. She was saving them and preparing them for the future. What Aunty Hope did not know was that the internet had many jokers. There were many bored people who created messages only to see how far they could travel. And then one evening, a new message stylishly entered Aunty Hope's WhatsApp. It looked serious, very serious. The message began with large capital letters. Urgent warning. Aunty Hope leaned closer to the phone. Her heart began beating faster. She adjusted her glasses slowly and began reading the message from the beginning, as if she were reading a letter from heaven itself. The message was long, very long. This kind of message looked too serious to be a joke. It began with a frightening sentence. Medical experts have confirmed that a strange poisonous gas will pass through several towns tonight after midnight. Anyone outside after 12 a.m. may collapse immediately. Aunty Hope's eyes widened. Jesus! She continued reading. The message explained that the gas was invisible. It claimed that the government was hiding the information to prevent panic. It said that only a few trusted prayer groups had received the warning. At the bottom of the message, another instruction appeared. Please stay indoors after midnight and close your windows. Share this message quickly to save lives. Aunty Hope sat back slowly. Her mind began moving like a radio trying to find the correct station. Poisonous gas, midnight, government hiding information. Her chest tightened. This world has reached the last days. She shouted into the sitting room. Chinedu! Her son answered from the sofa. What happened? Come and read this thing, oh. Chinedu walked in lazily. What is it now, mommy? Aunty Hope handed him the phone. Read it. Chinedu read the message once, then again. Then he handed the phone back to her calmly. Mommy, this news is fake. Aunty Hope frowned. How do you know? Because people write nonsense like this every day. But look at the English now, Aunty Hope insisted. Mommy, good English does not make something true. Aunty Hope shook her head. You young people joke too much. Chinedu sighed and walked away, but Aunty Hope shouted behind him. If poisonous gas enters this town tonight, don't say I did not warn you. She returned her attention to her phone and read the message again carefully. Then she noticed the final instruction, forward urgently. That was all the confirmation she needed. Aunty Hope began forwarding. She forwarded it to the family group first, then to the church group, then to the women fellowship group, then the street association group. Her fingers moved quickly, forward, forward, forward. Then she added her own warning beneath the message. Please take this seriously. Don't go outside tonight. Let's be careful. Inside the family group, the responses began arriving immediately. Her daughter wrote, "Mommy, please stop now." Her cousin replied, "What's gas again?" However, inside the church women fellowship group, the message began spreading faster. One woman wrote, "Thank you, Sister Hope." Another person wrote, "God bless you for warning us." A third woman forwarded the message again to another group, and that was how the message began traveling free of charge, street by street, compound by compound. Within 1 hour, people in several parts of the town had received the same warning. Inside a small barber shop, two men discussed the message nervously. "Have you seen this gas news?" The other man nodded. "Yes, so is it true?" "I don't know, but my wife said we must stay inside tonight." In the local provision shop, a woman rushed in breathlessly. "Give me 2 packs of face masks." The shop owner looked confused. "Why?" "Poison gas is coming tonight," the woman said. The shop owner blinked slowly. "What gas?" "Did you not see the WhatsApp message?" the woman asked. The rumor was really growing. By evening, the story had already changed shape. Some people said the gas came from a chemical factory. Some said it came from foreign soldiers, while others said it was a sign of the end times. But almost every version of the story contained one detail: the warning had come from WhatsApp. Meanwhile, Aunty Hope sat proudly inside her living room. Her husband returned from work and found her staring at the phone with serious concentration. "What happened now?" he asked. Aunty Hope looked up. "Have you not heard?" "Heard what?" he asked. "The poisonous gas coming tonight." Her husband stared at her. "What gas?" Aunty Hope showed him the message. He read it slowly and then he sighed deeply. "Hope." "Yes," she answered. "This message is nonsense." Aunty Hope shook her head. "You always say that until something happens." "Hope, listen to me," he said. "No," Aunty Hope shook her head. She pointed at the phone. "Even the message says share quickly to save lives." Her husband sat down. "I hope your WhatsApp prophecy does not scatter this town one day." Aunty Hope looked offended. "Saving lives is not scattering, please." Outside their house, something strange had already begun happening. People were closing their shops earlier than usual. Parents were calling their children inside. Neighbors were discussing the message nervously. One man even began sealing his windows with tape, just in case the gas escapes. By nightfall, the rumor had become a full story. The poisonous gas was coming. Nobody knew where it was coming from. Nobody knew what it would look like, but everybody knew one thing: it would arrive at midnight. And the message that started the fear was still traveling across phones throughout the town. It was being forwarded, copied and shared again until almost everybody had received the same warning. Now, people began behaving as if the gas had already arrived and was simply waiting for midnight to knock politely before entering. In front of a provision shop that night, 2 men stood with their hands on their waist. "I heard it will move through the air like smoke," one man said. The second man nodded seriously. "My cousin in Owerri said their town experienced something similar last year." Well, the truth was that the cousin never mentioned anything like that though. But in moments of fear, people begin remembering things that never happened. Inside the market, traders continued packing earlier than usual. Mama Ngozi locked her stall and said loudly, "I will not wait here and start collapsing because of poisonous air." The butcher shook his head. "I don't believe all these WhatsApp stories." Mama Ngozi pointed at him. "Oh yeah, now stay outside at midnight and test it." The butcher suddenly became less confident. He too began packing while muttering, "Testing is not necessary." Motorcycle riders gathered near the junction discussing the rumor. One rider said, "The government is hiding it." Another rider replied, "They always hide things." A third rider said, "If this gas is invisible, how will we know it has arrived?" Nobody answered that question. Meanwhile, Inside her living room, Aunty Hope sat proudly with her phone in her hand. Her message had been forwarded many times already. She could see the double ticks appearing everywhere. Good, she said proudly. Her husband looked at her helplessly. Hope, yes, she answered. How many people did you send that message to? Aunty Hope counted in her head. About 35. Her husband leaned back slowly. Ha, you have scattered the whole town. Aunty Hope looked offended. I am warning people. Her husband argued. You are frightening people. Fear is better than death, so Aunty Hope insisted. Her husband sighed. There was no arguing with Aunty Hope once she had entered prophecy mode. By 10 o'clock that night, the town looked strange. Normally, people would still be sitting outside enjoying the evening breeze. Children would be chasing each other along the streets. Neighbors would be discussing politics loudly. But this particular night, doors were already closing early. Windows were shutting and curtains were being drawn. Some people even stuffed clothes inside window gaps to block what they believed was dangerous air. One woman poured anointing oil around her door like a security guard. Inside one compound, a group of young boys sat on the veranda arguing. This message is fake, one boy said. Then why is everybody inside? Another boy replied. The first boy thought for a moment. That is because people like fear. But even he did not remain outside for long. He went inside. At 11:30 p.m., the town became quiet. Very quiet. It was the kind of silence that made even dogs feel confused. Inside Aunty Hope's house, the family sat in the living room. Her husband shook his head again. Hope, if nothing happens tonight, you must stop these messages. So Aunty Hope folded her arms. If something happens, you will apologize. Her son looked at the clock and said, 25 minutes to midnight. Aunty Hope whispered a prayer. Lord, protect us from poisonous air. In other homes, several people were watching their clocks nervously. One man wore a face mask. Another man covered his nose with a handkerchief. A woman locked her sitting room door with 2 padlocks as if guards respected security measures. Phones continued vibrating with new voice notes of, stay inside, please. Don't breathe fresh air. The gas may move quickly. In fact, fear was now moving faster than the rumor itself. Midnight approached slowly. The clock ticked 11:58, 11:59, and then suddenly, boom, a loud explosion echoed across town. The entire town jumped. Women screamed. Someone shouted, the gas has arrived. People ran deeper into their rooms under their beds. A woman began crying loudly inside Aunty Hope's living room. The family froze. What was that? Her son asked. Aunty Hope's eyes widened. The explosion of the gas. Her husband stood up and frowned. No, that sounded like transformer. But before he could finish speaking, phones began ringing everywhere and voice notes started flooding the WhatsApp groups. Something has exploded. The gas is spreading. Don't come outside. Close your windows. People forwarded voice notes. Some whispered urgently as if the poisonous air could hear them from the phone. One man sent a message to the community group. I am inside my house with mask. Nobody should come outside. Another person quickly replied, same here. Everybody stay inside until morning. Meanwhile, the local radio station had already received more than 20 calls. Sir, please confirm if the gas is real. Sir, people are saying it is chemical leak. Sir, the explosion has started. The confused radio presenter contacted the electricity office and 5 minutes later, the truth arrived. It was a transformer that exploded. Nothing more. It was not poisonous gas or government secrets. Just an old transformer that had died peacefully after years of suffering heat, rain, and public insults. But because the rumor had already planted fear in people's minds, the explosion sounded like confirmation. At 12:30, the radio presenter announced, residents of Umudike town, please remain calm. There is no poisonous gas anywhere. The loud sound sound you heard earlier was a transformer explosion. The rumor circulating on social media is false. Just like that, the fear slowly began losing strength. Some people opened their windows suspiciously and peeped outside like prisoners testing their freedom. Others laughed awkwardly. At the same time, people started checking their phones again. The original message was still there, sitting in many WhatsApp groups. Someone finally asked the question that had been floating silently since midnight. Who sent this message first? In the Church Women Fellowship group, one woman scrolled upward through the conversations. She followed the forwarded arrows, message after message, until the name appeared, Aunty Hope. The woman blinked, then she typed, "Sister Hope, where did you get this message?" Inside her house, Aunty Hope's phone vibrated again. She opened the group confidently and asked, "What happened?" Another woman replied, "The radio says the message is fake." Aunty Hope stared at the screen. "Fake?" "Yes," someone else added. "Yes, it was the transformer explosion that frightened everybody." Another message arrived. People locked themselves inside their houses because of this message. Aunty Hope looked at the phone quietly. Her son leaned over her shoulder and said, "Mommy, you have caused national disaster." Her husband laughed. "I told you." More messages began entering the group now. "Please verify information before forwarding. This rumor frightened my children. I closed my shop early because of this." Aunty Hope swallowed her saliva slowly. Her phone continued vibrating. Then a new message appeared. "The police officers are asking who started the message." Her husband looked at her and grinned. "Well," Aunty Hope cleared her throat. I only forwarded the message now." Her son laughed. "Yes, to the entire town." That morning, the police visited several streets asking questions about the rumor. Eventually, the trail became clear. The message had traveled across many groups, but the first person who introduced it into the town's network was easy to identify: Aunty Hope. Two police officers arrived at her compound later that afternoon. She was lucky they were polite men. The older one spoke first. "Good afternoon, madam." Aunty Hope replied, "Good afternoon, officer. We are investigating a rumor that caused panic last night," the officer said. Aunty Hope nodded nervously. "Yes." "Did you send this message?" He showed her the screenshots. Aunty Hope looked at the phone carefully and nodded. "Yes." The officer sighed. "Where did you get it from?" Aunty Hope hesitated. From WhatsApp." The younger officer raised his eyebrow. "So WhatsApp is now government ministry?" Aunty Hope lowered her eyes. I thought it was real." The officers exchanged glances. Finally, the older officer spoke. "Madam, please verify information before sharing it. Rumors can cause serious panic." Aunty Hope nodded quickly. "Yes, officer." They left without further trouble, but the embarrassment had already arrived. By evening, the entire town knew the story. Neighbors laughed at her. One woman greeted her at the gate. "Good evening, prophetess of WhatsApp." Another neighbor added jokingly, "Madam, please tell us tomorrow's news early." Aunty Hope smiled shamefully. Inside her house, she sat quietly with her phone on the table. A new WhatsApp message appeared again. "Breaking news. Scientists say sleeping after eating rice can cause blindness." Aunty Hope stared at the message and, out of habit, her finger moved toward the forward button. Then she stopped and leaned back slowly. Her son was shocked. "What happened?" Aunty Hope cleared her throat and muttered, "I think we should verify first." Her husband laughed loudly. "Ah, miracle has happened." Aunty Hope shook her head. Embarrassment can also teach wisdom. She deleted the message, and for the first time since she bought her smartphone, Aunty Hope allowed a WhatsApp broadcast to die quietly inside her phone instead of traveling across the entire town like a prophecy. Thank you for watching the story. Kindly share your thoughts about the story with me in the comment section. What lesson did you learn from this story? Kindly share the story out with your loved ones and give this story a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye.